Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Now Mom, I'm Gaming. My name is Kay, and on this episode we'll be talking about Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. I'm gonna keep this intro short and sweet. I have played through a lot of this game so far already, however I have not completed it so far. So there's some things that even I don't know that might happen in the future, so I gotta kind of keep an open mind about that. I do read a lot of notes that I find in the open world, as well as the different information about characters that we find, hints and such. I'm not going to read every little single thing because there is some text that just isn't really crucial to the story or doesn't give any like backstory of any kind on the characters or what's going on in the world. Those I'll leave out. This is going to hopefully be a 100% gameplay review. I can't say for sure on that though. It doesn't look like there's an achievement for going like hard mode, which thank God. I don't think I saw one. But since I have been doing a commentary playthrough of this game, some achievements have already been achieved. So I might miss calling out some achievements in these podcast episodes. I do apologize, just know that they have been gotten. Some of them are storyline achievements anyway, and I probably won't shout those out all that much. I didn't state any achievements in this episode because there are no achievements so far. We still have yet to get our first one. And now that I've said my piece, let's begin the episode. First off, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden has 5 different difficulties you can choose from. Story, which is for players who wish to focus on the narrative. Easy, for players who wish to enjoy the game with a forgiving combat challenge. Normal, for players who wish to enjoy a balanced experience of story and combat. Hard, for players who seek a challenging combat experience. And very hard, for players who seek a very challenging combat experience. I think that's interesting that they put 5 here. Because normally I think easy would be the story. Since easy combat means you just focus more on the story and you don't worry so much about the possibility of dying or making the wrong, gear choice, skill choice. So yeah, normally games have like 4 difficulties, right? Or maybe 3, like easy mode, normal, and hard, and then after you complete the game, there's another extra difficulty mode, New Game Plus, which would probably be very hard in this game's case. I'm not sure though. But hey, they cater to everyone, whoever wants to play this game. So this game starts off in a scene where we are on a ship. We're just waking up.
Madam, sir, the ship lies at anchor off New Eden. A tender stands at your disposal.
I dreamed of clouds. Great long fluffy bastards. Low over the sea.
I dreamed of the abyss, in the darkest reaches of the deepest ocean.
They have quite different dreams, I feel. One is dreaming of clouds, big fluffy ones, and then the other is dreaming of the abyss, just darkness. I wonder what's on her mind, and why her dreams drag her down into that, while his remain a bit lighter. Clearly these two are lovers, but I don't know if they're married or not. I'm not sure if it actually states it in this game.
Welcome to America.
Something's bothering you.
Charles's letter.
What of it?
The ghost must be uncommonly dangerous, or he would banish it himself.
It looks like we've come to America because of someone named Charles who sent us a letter asking us to come banish a ghost that he can't seem to banish himself, which makes it dangerous. I guess 2 banishers are better than 1. Then again, there would be 3 combined.
I'm serious. If the Reverend needs help, this can be no easy business. Red, you best be ready.
I'll be careful, Master Duarte.
While we're taking the scenario pretty lightly, we come to realize that Red is the apprentice, while Antea is, I guess, the master of the art of banishing. I wonder how long he's been an apprentice.
Come on, Antea, we need to go. I need to pee.
Rory McWraith, gallant to the last.
I love games that have serious conversations and serious elements in them, and then they go into a lighthearted mode with humor. I mean, we're not exactly in a dire situation as of yet, but Antea's kind of putting on a more serious face right here, and we need to dull the edge of it a little bit. Life to the living, death to the dead. That is a saying that you'll have to consider when playing this game through. Because the choices you have to make, I mean, it's all up to you, but looking at who they are, what they do, if you would want to play the game properly, then you gotta consider the correct choice in a situation, even though there can be multiple correct choices. I do find it interesting that they go by this saying, but not to spoil anything at this point, because we'll get into it later, but they can veer off the path. And it makes you wonder, how easy is it to veer off the path that you've known for either most of your life or something that's been lodged into your head for years and suddenly turn your back on it? You know, in the moment of them being alive right now, this is their rule, their guideline to dealing with the dead and people who are haunted. But when something like shatters a moment like this, with them standing here, the decree you live by can just blow away. It can be just inconsequential. See, even Charles says lovers here. It's not a known detail if they're married or not. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're not married, and they're just lovers. Master and apprentice.
Life to the living, we say, and death to the dead. It is not so simple. Since the dawn of humanity, the dead have lingered. Dead as alive, we are complex and emotional beings.
I mean, he's not wrong. If you've watched any kind of supernatural shows with ghosts and specters and wraiths and poltergeists and all those kinds of ghosts, there might be more. They are complex and they are emotional. They always have a reason for lingering, and the reasoning may be sound, but also it might come with dire circumstances. And of course, the dead don't always view things in a full spectrum of color. Sometimes there's no morally gray to them. It's black or it's white. There's no in between. At least that's what I get from different shows I watched, books I read. Mainly, though, I'm talking about the series Supernatural. That's kind of my go-to. God, I don't know how many seasons I watched. I think I watched like 5 seasons and it kept going and I just got lost. I had to stop. I love the characters, but I think at some point it didn't capture my attention as it used to. But also I've been watching School Spirits, and that's about a bunch of kids as ghosts. And they're definitely not like one-track minded. They definitely have all their emotions intact, and they see things as they are, but they're definitely a lot different. The rules of them being ghosts is so different than any other show I've watched. It's almost jarring, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. So yeah, I agree. Ghosts are emotional.
Many and tangled are the ties that bind. Since the beginning of memory, Banishers have fought to sever those ties.
I wonder how many Banishers there are in this world. How many there have been. since the beginning of memory, they've been around fighting off these ghosts and whatever ties them to the mortal realm. Because I have a feeling ghosts far outnumber banishers. And I'm not sure if it even tells you how long it takes to become a banisher, to go beyond the basics of it.
Death is but a trifle. It comes to us all. To haunt or be haunted. There lies the true horror.
I wonder if by that he means that when someone dies, the person who might be the cause of their death doesn't know if they are going to be haunted, and the person who can kind of see their death coming doesn't know if they are going to be doing the haunting, or maybe they do know that they'll be doing the haunting when they come back due to the way they died. Because I don't think everyone that dies is going to be haunted or haunting someone, you know? There's going to be a limit here. People die every day. That'd be crazy.
I, Charles Davenport, should know it. The haunting of New Eden scared me to death. I dearly wish I had not begged my friends to come and lift the curse.
And now we know that Charles, the guy narrating this, is in fact dead. And the cause of his death is apparently whatever haunts New Eden. Before I go any further beyond this, oh my god, I love this little intro here. The color scheme of it makes it look like we're not in the living world anymore. We're kind of in a dead zone, which is very fitting for Charles speaking with us right now. But also reminds me very much of Vampire, a game that I really enjoyed, though it did have its flaws. New Eden, June 7th, 1695. When we reach land, we're prompted with the movement keys, as well as the rotation of the camera. Your typical stuff.
I think I weary of long, boring sea voyages to grim, faraway lands.
I can't remember the last time we did something else than work.
After this, we should set sail somewhere warm and safe. The dead don't linger.
No such place. But it's not a bad idea.
Isn't that sort of sad to hear? Knowing wherever they go, if they wanted a vacation, they couldn't really have a vacation anyway because the dead are basically everywhere. And as banishers, they do have a duty, an oath to uphold, I guess. This is a game where when you're traveling together, there is some easy banter between two characters, so it's not just one long, arduous path of silence and background noise. It is kind of broken up. I feel like it's hit and miss with people like that or not, but I like it. Probably because I like these two characters. They look amazing. Their voice actors did also an amazing job bringing them to life. And it's just the story of the game right now, so. When it comes to obstacles, you do need to press an interact key. So it's not something that's automatic. I think some things are automatic. If the cliff is low enough, then they'll hop down automatically. But when it comes to climbing or crouching under something or shimmying, you usually have to interact with it. This is a game that has materials out in the open world. And depending on the material, you'll find them in certain locations or vendors. If you go into the inventory and hover over an item, it will tell you where you can find them. As far as the locations of the world, you will need these to upgrade your equipment. This is also the first area where you get to shimmy.
Looks steady enough.
But you don't go all the way through because the house kind of collapses.
Watch out!
Ugh. Is it just me or are we not welcome here?
Keep going. I'll find a way to meet up with you.
Now that you have to find a new way, you can break items, and sometimes if you break barrels and stuff, there's an item behind it. Other times there's nothing there, you're just breaking crap for breaking it. But also some places have kind of a hidden path like this. So it's nice to break everything you can. Up ahead we get into our first battle. So we have a light attack and a heavy attack. And what I like about these battles is if there's an enemy behind you, you'll have an indicator around your character. And if it's white, then they're just somewhere behind you. But if it flashes red, they're about to attack you. You can also lock onto a target. We find out those things are called wanderers. So they're specters that are watching the road. I don't know if all these terms mean different things. Like, obviously, wanderer is a specific type of ghost / specter, but is a specter the same thing as a ghost? Is that how they're seeing this? Because sometimes they say ghost, and this time they say specter. There's not really a compendium of sorts that lists all the different kinds of ghosts you're going to meet or have met. We can pick up a letter here. These are kind of easily missed. If you don't explore a lot, you might miss some of these letters. Looking through the achievements, it looks like there is one called Bookworm, Collect All Collectibles in New Eden. So you do want to explore around, because there is a chance of missing these. The one we pick up is a letter old and damp, and it reads, "Dear cousin, this farce that is New Eden Town has gone on long enough. You tried. You tried all you could to make it work, to build something there. But if the words you send me are true, then by God, take your wife and your precious children, pack your belongings, and leave that ungodly place. Come to Providence and live with us. There is farm work here, and Simone and I will gladly take you until you find a place of your own. Please, I am begging you, come to us. We are family and the children will be safer here. John James, Providence, 8th September 1694. I think it's pretty cool that up ahead you can see Red fighting some wanderers down below you. So it's not just the fact that you two are taking two different paths and going to the same place to meet up, but you still sort of interact with each other. You see what each other are doing. You're not really blind to one another's movements. In the next battle, we learn Banishment. Attacking with your weapons fills the banish gauge. When the banish gauge is full, press A to banish your target. For controller, my controller. So you can see as you attack enemies, the banish gauge fills up by that little green tick. And in this area we find a note, damp and bloody. It reads, "Perhaps these words will be lost in time, but I must write them. The date? I cannot say. I know it is the month of June and the year 1695. I thought we would be safer in Providence. I thought we would finally see the children again, and the golden wheat fields would ring with their laughter. Their mother now lies dead, and I shall join her soon. Something insidious walks the roads. Terrible spirits took us. New Eden is cursed. You who read this now, I tell you, run." That's a nice little message to read, I think. The next enemy is of a higher level, and the game teaches you can hold right trigger to deal a charged attack. Charged attacks fill the banish gauge faster. You can have a bit of distance between you and the enemy when you charge it. Just time it right so the enemy is walking within your range. Because if you do the charge attack and the enemy is too far away, you're not going to hit them. You don't run all the way toward them when you're doing a charge attack. But there is an area they can be in where you charge forward enough to attack them. Antea and Red finally meet up when we're nearing the town, and we can push the left joystick to sprint. Obviously, these keybinds are going to be different depending on your controller, depending on if you like the keyboard or whatever. Well, this is what my shit is, alright? On top of a barrel in this town, you will find a letter. It reads, "Susanna, it's been days since we ate. Each day the town empties further. Folk would sooner risk the cold than stay. The minister said help was on its way, but I do not know how much time we have left, or how much time before the next sickness takes us all. I shall entrust my neighbor with this letter in the hope that it will reach you. If nothing changes, I'll try to cross the woods myself. I hear folk assemble bands, the better to safely brave the wilderness. May God help us. Sarah." I do like how sometimes after you read a note, the characters will say something about it, but that's not always the case with every single little thing you read. That's kind of a shame to me. I like to hear their thoughts on everything that they might read in this game, but it's not the case. Gab stated this in her YouTube video, but New Eden Town, that's rather well-written letters for a shoddy signpost, you know? You You'd think they would like etch it into the wood, kind of make it handmade, but no. So we made it to New Eden Town. The game describes an area of investigation. You've reached the location of your current objective. Your compass now indicates that you are inside an area of investigation. Look for the inn. So at this point, while we're in this area, we can just roam around and explore. And that's going to happen, of course, in different areas of this game. I think even if you explore a place to its full potential, you'll still get this area of investigation on the compass until you either leave the area the way you're supposed to, or of course find what you need. And during conversations between Red and Taya, there are dialogue choices. So you can choose whichever one you want to kind of engage with your thoughts on the matter. There are townsfolk you can talk to at this place. There's not very many. But when you do talk to people, there are choices, dialogue. There's usually one that is highlighted in yellow, and that's the one you want to ask. But I think you're okay to ask these first if you want to. You don't have to exhaust all other choices first. It won't automatically continue with the quest line if you do choose the highlighted statement, which I really like. Sometimes it's annoying when you choose a dialogue choice that you're supposed to choose, but you forgot to hear the character talk about other topics, and the game just continues forward. We ask Elizabeth where the inn is, and this is what she has to say.
Could you point us to the tavern? We're expected.
The King's Arms. I'll not point it out to you as I disapprove of drinking. It's the large building next to the gallows.
The inn is next to the gallows. Why would you put the gallows beside the inn where people eat? Why do you want rotting corpses near a place where you eat and sleep? That's not very inviting. I mean, having gallows isn't very inviting, period, to a town, but still. Next to a tavern? At least have it at the entrance to town, good lord. When we enter the tavern, this is our greeting.
Banisher, please come in. As it is called, your serving woman may sit while we talk.
I'm the help. She's the boss. You're not Charles.
Yes, he called Antea a serving woman. And the look she gave him was just, Aside from Fairfax Haskell, we have Pennington and Thickskin Newsmith. All three of them are apparently the selectmen. I don't know the terms of this day and age, so I assume this is like a council. You can definitely feel the tension between all three of them, though, in this room, given the situation that they're in within New Eden, and the fact that they've all been sitting here for who knows how long waiting for us, especially with the Reverend being dead now.
Our shock at Reverend Davenport's killing is so great that we must sit here in comfort, losing precious time.
As governor of the colony of New Eden, it is my responsibility.
Look at us, sat here waiting to meet the same fate. We could all be miles away by now. You lot do what you want. I intend living.
The esteemed select woman can be brusque. Forgive her. And rest assured that her aptitudes far outweigh her manners. Or lack thereof.
Her point still stands, Fairfax. Sitting here, doing nothing, we are as lambs to the slaughter.
The Banishers are here. Surely with their expertise we may yet prevail.
Then I shall leave you and your expertise in ghosts and devils to find out. My expertise in blood and battle is of little use.
In the conversation, Fairfax Haskell says this.
You see, in my youth, I too was something of a demonologist. Rather a good one, if I say so myself.
We're not demonologists, and neither was Charles.
Clearly, Banishers banish ghosts either through ascension or banishing itself, so we know kind of what a banisher does, given the name. I wonder what the difference is between a banisher and a demonologist, though. Because so far we know about ghosts and specters, and something that's haunting this town, causing a curse upon it. But we don't know anything about demons so far. I don't even know if we meet a demon in this game, so I don't know what a demonologist does. Like, what's their role in this world? I know bits and pieces kind of come together within the game, but I don't know if it's like fully explained. As of this moment, I have not completed the game fully. I'm still traversing through the whole 100% thing. I'm not holding out on a lot of hope that it does explain demonology, but it would be interesting if it did. Or hell, if they made another game, and since this one's with Banishers, if the next one could be about demonologists. That'd be cool. Don't know if it'll happen, but it'd be cool. So this is what we know about the curse so far.
I can tell you that it has been our misery for many long months now, and I can tell you that it worsens by the increment. First, there was pestilence and disease. Then came the nightmares. Then came madness. In the end came death, and death remains. But in all honesty, I think the weather is the worst part. This never-ending winter hangs heavy on us all. Worse yet, it traps us here.
It's not a lot to go on, but I guess it just tells us what's been going on that we don't know about, that maybe Charles didn't tell us about. After we're done talking with Haskell, we can roam around the tavern. There's really not much to look at within the tavern at this moment because the upstairs doors are mainly locked. But there is a side room with a letter on the table titled Inn's Owner Notice, and it reads, "As announced at the last town hall meeting, I hereby close the King's Arms Tavern, leaving the key to the selectmen. There shall be no ale sold nor drunk until the curse is lifted and I return. The storerooms are locked, and so are the bedrooms. God bless. Charity Crooked." So maybe it's not until you return to this place that the bedrooms would be open, but I don't know. At the moment, I had no idea. Maybe there's nothing in those bedrooms. Leaving the tavern, the game tells us about our compass. The compass indicates the direction and distance toward an objective. Follow the yellow marker to meet with Esther. So the compass is kind of interesting in the fact that it doesn't just point to where the location you need to go is. It keeps you on the correct path. So say you're on a road that splits into different directions. You got your left and your right. If the location is on the right, then the indicator will be in front of you on that path forward, and then it will whip to the right to show you need to go that way. I find this really handy for when you want to explore an area, because if you don't want to go to the main objective, then go to the route that the indicator is not pointing toward. It was definitely confusing when I first started playing this game, like why is this thing whipping all over the place? But it's literally showing you the path you need to take to get to your destination as you move toward it.
Damn it, Charles. Those accursed sea storms. If only we'd been here earlier.
I know. But as Charles would say, another day, another soul to save.
I don't think these people are idiots, honestly. Like, what are they supposed to do? They're trapped in a town that's cursed. The children have been sent away. People are falling ill. People are dying. They want to get out of this place. They want to escape whatever curse this is. They don't know anything about it either. Hell, we don't know anything about it. So I don't know why the option of saying these people are idiots is even there. Seems a bit callous, considering people really don't know about ghosts anyway. And at this point, I don't even think demons are real. I think that's all in Haskell's mind, his interpretation of things that are going on, that a demon could be causing this problem, and it's not the case. But I'm starting to suspect that demons don't really exist. Here's what we learn when we get to Esther's place.
Poor Charles. Just one more victim of the curse of New Eden. You know how he is. Was. Restless. Impatient. It's not that he gave up on you, his friends, but that he could wait no more. I believe he tried to lift the curse.
After a conversation with Esther, the game tells us about hints and intents. You have unlocked your first hint. It contains important information about the person it is linked to. You can refer to these hints at any given moment through the Haunting Cases menu. So as far as Esther's case goes on her portrait, the once joyful and educated good friend of Antea and Red is now a young widow who has lost her anchor and drifts unmoored on a sea of mourning. Boy, that's depressing. Her first hint states, after seeing her husband's ghost, grieving widow Esther Davenport was deeply distressed. Well, I mean, yeah. First off, that means he's dead. So why wouldn't you be distressed about that? Second off, he's haunting her now. Even more distressing. The case itself states, although the path held surprises and many bad omens, Red and Taya at last reached New Eden Town and set out in search of their friend, the Reverend Charles Davenport. Fairfax Haskell, governor of New Eden, informed the Banishers that Charles was dead. After confirming that their contract to lift the curse from New Eden still stood, and Taya and Rev visited Esther, Charles's widow, distraught and grieving. She told the Banishers something disturbing. She told them she felt him present. So of course it's going to be our job to get rid of his presence. Another bit of information about hints and intent. To understand why a ghost lingers in the incarnate, you must gather hints about each involved inhabitant. Once the hints have all been uncovered, the inhabitant's intent is disclosed and you may complete your investigation. On a table is a letter from Eleanor Combs. It reads, November 1694. My dearest Charles, how delighted I was to read your words. It is always a pleasure to hear from you, and to know that yourself and your beloved Esther are doing well. I have contacted our brothers in London, but unfortunately, we cannot find anything in our archives that matches the description of the events you have experienced in New Eden. Be that as it may, pestilence and never-ending winters are phenomena perhaps too broad for us to pinpoint the exact cause. I can give you no better answer. Be it sorcery, the presence of an ichor, or something else entirely, we cannot say. All I can do is invite you to continue your research and to take note of all your observations. Our Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has so little presence in the New World. Any new information shall be precious indeed. Please stay safe, my friend. Yours truly, Eleanor Combs. At the table Esther sits at is a bundle of letters from Charles that reads, 5th day of January 1685. My beloved Esther, how I long to hold you in my arms. The announcement of our marriage was to my heart as a delicacy on my palate, a sweet of which one cannot tire. At last we shall be together, and together forever and ever, until the day many years from now when we are old, and at last death separates us. For only death can extinguish the love between us, and I am sure that not even death can undo the tenderness I feel for you. I want everything to be perfect for our marriage, and I will make it so. I will write to you every day until that blessed moment when I can finally shed the weight of letters and tell you in person every day how I feel about you. I am thinking of you. Your love forever, Charles. There's also another bundle of letters from Charles that reads, 21st day of February 1687. My sweet Esther, I can't tell you how much I long to get home. This work in the mystical Scottish Highlands is exciting. I can't argue with that, but I miss the sweetness of our home. However, I know that the few months I have left away from your loving arms will be of great benefit to me. Through this experience I will increase my knowledge, and all this I do to protect you from those dark worlds that swirl around us. It is your love and trust that pushes me into these mysterious entrenchments, that pushes me to do my best. It is for you that I do this, for when I can see the pride in your eyes, then I know what role I play on this earth. I know that I can be stronger. I know I can do anything, as long as you look at me with that spark that is only yours. I am thinking of you. Your love forever, Charles. On another table is a bundle of letters from Charles that reads, 12th day of August, 1694. My sweet Esther, I was down and yet you were there to support me. You're an angel from heaven to help me in my dark mission. You are the light that guides me through the darkness of the invisible. And yet I feel so sorry for bringing you to this tortured land. You know well that things are not as they should be in New Eden, and I am sorry to have you by my side, for I fear for your life. I wish we could have found a quiet corner of this land, there to raise our children, but I fear a curse. I think we should leave. Or perhaps you should go ahead while I defend our home. Think about it, for I cannot bear the thought of darkness taking you away from me. Your love forever, Charles. And of course, the unfortunate thing is that he was taken from her instead. I guess after he passed away, she brought all of these letters out and was just reading them over. Oh, that's so sad. Upstairs, we can pick up a paper called Where Do Nightmares Come From? It reads, I remember the teaching of my masters, may God bless their souls, against the threatening unknown when the common knowledge is not enough to understand a situation. The sagacious and pious man will wisely turn to the very roots of his art, the words, their meaning, and the power hidden in each of them. As in the French cauchemar or the German Nachtmar, Mare here comes from the 12th century Middle Dutch and means ghost or demon. Okay, so the nightmare is a demon? Or is it a specter? Or are they one and the same? It's a little confusing here. A nightmare is not a puny fiend sneaking into the bedrooms to suffocate the dreamers, but one of the rarest and most powerful spirit defined by its only purpose, to spread its insidious and unforgiving wrath upon any living soul it may reach. According to my research, no occultist ever successfully banished a nightmare. But why? Could a nightmare be more than a ghost? I'm afraid so. I remember a disturbing poem I read in London in my younger years about the terrifying abilities of such entity, supposedly able to penetrate the dreams of its targets, to influence their thoughts and perception and make them endure their worst fear. Able even to bend the distance or alter time, creating tantalizing and personalized nightmare its victims can't hope to escape from. Such a petrifying concept. I pray God with all my heart and soul that this is not what has risen upon us. How would we then escape despair, death, and doom? I need more information, but where to find them? Charles Davenport. I think with the achievement for the collectibles thing is maybe these letters that you can actually pick up and put in your inventory. So while letters that you only read, the prompt is to inspect them. But collectibles that you read have the prompt to take. Still, it's best to explore and read what you can about the lore and what's going on in certain situations. It kind of just ties everything together. The item we're looking for is on his table in his study. It's titled Scribbled Bible Verses and reads Job 7:13-15. 13. When I say, my bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaints. 14. Then thou scarest me with dreams, and terrifiest me through visions. 15. So that my soul chooseth strangling, and death rather than my life. She comes to me in dreams. So we got Bible verses, and then at the very end, she comes to me in dreams. Which is probably why he sped up the fact that he needed to try to end the curse himself, instead of wait for us. On the floor, there's a paper titled Charles' Notes. It reads, what do all these dreams have in common? Are they the promise of a doomsday or a nightmare coming? Visions, foreshadowing, is someone behind this? Who is the real target and what caused this anger to burst forth? I need to know how it gets into our heads. Sleep no longer offers rest, and this cannot perdure. So sleeping causes nightmares, which means probably that most people would have insomnia due to not wanting to fall asleep. And then insomnia can make things worse with hallucinations and such. And the fact that he has no idea when we'll actually get here, I think that would be the worst part, is waiting and not knowing when we'll actually arrive, when help will arrive. Because he's really the only person here that can do anything about this. And even he couldn't. And with that, we get our first hint on Charles. Charles was worried about the influence the threatening spirit had on the settlers' dreams. On another desk is an unsent letter to Esther's sister. It reads, my dearest sister, Charles is dead. I cannot tell right from left. I cannot tell which day it is, or how long ago my Charles departed. My world has come undone. Nothing happened as it was supposed to. I could not attend the burial. The shame of it. How I have failed my dear husband. I just could not find the strength to leave the house and walk to the place where Charles died, there to see him buried. Lord have mercy on us, and guide our friends to us before it is too late. New Eden will not last much longer without my beloved husband to protect it. I do not have any words left in me, but I thought that you, who loved him so, should know of his passing. My love, Esther. God, that one had to be hard too. Like, just going to his funeral, not really funeral, his burial, knowing that around there was a place that he died and you didn't know about it until his ghost started haunting you. And then the guilt of not going to the burial would also eat you alive. So I feel bad for Esther. This gives us our last hint. For Esther, exhausted by her grief, Esther was unable to leave the house to attend her husband's burial. So all in all, Esther Davenport did not properly bid her husband farewell and now suffers from it. And that's the reason why she's haunted. Damn, that would suck to be haunted just because of that. Because you were grieving so hard that you couldn't leave the house and couldn't face the burial. So your husband's ghost just attached itself to you. Once you leave the house, the game prompts you with a map. To find the location of your next objective, you can open your map, of course. Heading down to the docks, there is a notice posted on the wall that reads, "Warning, the docks are closed for sabotage by fire. All trade to Boston, Marblehead, Salem, etc. is cut until the saboteur is caught." We kind of got to keep that in mind for later, because we do find the culprit, but not right now. It's not our main focus right now. In the docks, we do come across the traveling merchant Squire Sincere Paris. He says he's a traveling merchant, but through my playthrough so far, I don't think I've seen him yet. If he's a traveling merchant, wouldn't he be like just in random locations maybe? Does he travel to places we don't travel? You don't really need to worry about buying anything from his wares right now, as there's nothing you really need. So I guess the game is just saying, hey, here's a merchant, and you might meet him in the future. Or maybe not. Maybe the nightmare kills him. As we get closer to the cemetery, we do come across a wisp, and it seems to be leading us somewhere important. So I think this is a way to tell us that out in the open world, if you see wisps just floating around, then there's something important there. And once you do the objective of whatever they're floating around, they don't go away. They're still there. So I don't know why they stay though. Like if the quote-unquote objective for that location is done where the wisps are circling, why do they stick around? Lo and behold, it leads us to an enemy, and we learn that we can dodge and then roll. The purple specter is kind of a pain in the ass because they can teleport toward you, as well as scream, which stuns you. And if you're with red, then you can just switch to him and it will bring you out of the stun. But playing as one character, you do get stunned for a moment. Up ahead, we learn about insight. As a banisher, you can feel places or objects that have been marked by ghosts. When in close proximity to these elements, your bane rings will be triggered and light up with an orange aura. Walk around to find the source. The source is actually a ritual site. So for rituals, memories of the dead linger here. To reveal them, you must gather the necessary resources. I didn't have the necessary resources for this one. I needed 3 pyrite and I only had 2. So again, you want to kind of explore and get anything that you can as far as materials are in the open world. I forgot that not only are they required for weapon and gear upgrade, but also for these ritual sites. So once I do gather the materials, it gives us a little more information. Banishers can perform rituals. The nature of the site determines which ritual should be performed. Performing a ritual consumes resources, even if you select an incorrect ritual. Which might happen from time to time, because it certainly happens with me. It doesn't necessarily tell you which ritual you need, but for the most part, Antea does. It's just that sometimes summoning a specter might also mean summoning a scourge. So she doesn't specifically say whether it is a specter or if it's a scourge. That's my problem in the future, by the way. Not right now, though. Right now, to reveal the memories, you need to perform a hearkening ritual. And this basically shows what happened to Charles.
In the name of the Lord, I command you. Be gone from this place!
You do not command me, clergyman.
Who are you, ghost? Unveil yourself!
Well, since you ask so politely.
Who are you?
I am everything you've ever feared.
Be gone! You have no shell, no ties, no purpose.
No, but neither do you.
Leading to her final hint of him. Charles tried to make the spirit manifest. He failed. Overall, facing the terrifying entity threatening New Eden, Charles Davenport's heart gave out. Pretty sure it did more than just give out. She kind of like shot something through his chest, didn't she? I think energy, maybe? That made his heart stop? So not technically a heart attack? We find Charles's Bible on the ground. It's got the verses in it, and this is the tie of the essence of Charles' ghosts, which is needed to bring closures to this case and future cases. Without a tie to the ghosts, they're gonna linger. And then we head to his grave and manifest Charles.
You know me, Ghost. I only wish to talk. Esther worries.
This makes me think ghosts don't remember who they are or who the people around them are. She states that Esther worries, though, so that implies that he would know who Esther is, maybe because he's the one haunting her. So maybe they recognize the people they haunt, but not the people that they might have known in the past. Not sure. I mean, he does remember her, though. Here's a bit more regarding the situation.
Do you know how this curse began?
What prompted it, I do not know. Nor do I know when. Many months ago, certainly. But I do know this. This nightmare chose New Eden for a reason.
So, a ghost.
This one is different. Implacable. Very clever. Many magnitudes more ferocious than a spectre, and just as relentless.
I thought nightmares were a myth.
A nightmare is the rarest of ghosts. A powerful, insidious spirit, birthed by tragedy most dreadful.
How do I banish it?
There is meager wisdom in the texts. What little there is says it cannot be banished at all.
If it's a ghost, I can't banish it. You took notes, I suppose? Where might I find them?
They vanished. In the days before my death. Perhaps I mislaid them. Which is not like me. If you find them, read them carefully. Perhaps I missed something. Something important.
So Antea is about to get rid of her old mentor, the ghost, but is interrupted by Red and Esther. And then Red asks Antea to give Charlie the ascent he deserves. Which is a completely different thing than what she was doing initially. So we got to see her almost banish Charles, which is a terrifying sight, like, especially didn't look too good for the ghost. I think banishing is more like ripping them apart, shoving them down into hell, I don't know. And giving them an ascent is a peaceful send away. I don't know why she was banishing him. Like he was evil and needed to be rid of. I don't know why she wouldn't have just given him the ascent. I mean, sure, he was fighting her a little bit on wanting to stay, given the fact that they probably do need help, and he still is a banisher. He could provide some insight, but eventually he caved and said, you know, just fine. But either way, Esther is no longer haunted by her dead husband. And we finally lost a friend for good. Friend and mentor. We escorted Esther back to her home, like for a kind of short conversation the way there, but We don't really do anything when we get there. There's nothing else to do. We picked everything up. We've read everything. So it's just, I guess we're keeping her company as we escort her to the house so she's not alone in her thoughts. But still, we leave her alone at the house, so technically she still is alone with her thoughts. Well, I don't know. It was a kind gesture. Upon leaving her house, we head to the schoolhouse to join Red. And we pick up a collectible, I'm going to call them, titled Banishers Techniques. It reads, "As Banishers, we are no spiritual guides or inquisitors. We are ghost hunters for hire, specialized and sensitive crafters who train hard to protect the livings through our rituals and knowledge about ghosts and specters. We are no cult. There's no hierarchy, nor established dogma among us. The most obvious reason why a Banisher becomes a Banisher is because he or she wants to protect the living from the dead. Whatever the reason, we are efficient, adaptive, and versatile. Our community is sparse and nomadic, just like our predecessors were. We wander the world in search of living victims of the dead, cleansing haunting cases using techniques tried and trusted, and honed by generations of masters and pupils. Releasing or banishing the ghost, rarely blaming the living. Unlike puny sorcerers, we do not waste our time crafting enchanted rifles, with the butt, barrel, and stock engraved with runes and other symbols of power, for hunting specters or otherwise. Who would wish to depend on a single weapon? Instead, we bring our Bane powder, prepared according to recipes handed down from generation to generation, rendering any firearm capable of shooting and damaging a supernatural target, no matter what the ammunition. Efficient, adaptive, versatile. Our knowledge of alchemy and botany helps us selecting minerals and plants whose properties will support our work. We do not waste our time drawing, carving, or engraving complex circles of power, because what we gain in power or nuance, we lose twice as much or more in time, risking putting ourselves and those around us in unnecessary danger. Instead, a clever banisher carries stamps, in wood or metal, with which to mark a door, wall, or stone with the necessary symbol for the appropriate ritual. We also wear rings upon our fingers with these symbols, so we always have a range of powerful runes close at hand, as it were. Efficient, adaptive, versatile. Thus we prevail. Thus we fight. Thus we send back the creeping dead where they are supposed to be. From Death to the Dead by Balthasar H. Frenhofer. So it does state that we sometimes will be blaming humans. Because blame is a capital letter, very important. We ascend, we banish, or we blame. That's not always going to be the case throughout this game. Sometimes you're either going to blame the person, the living, or not. And other times you have multiple ascends or banishes and different ghosts, as well as blaming a person. It all depends on the different scenario for the ending of the quest. I love the fact that Red is sitting there playing his didgeridoo. I never thought that there would be a didgeridoo in a game. During Red and Antea's conversation by the fire, there's kind of like a little rift and a disagreement between what she was about to do with Charles regarding the banishing. Clearly Red didn't approve of doing that, and Antea thinks it would have been for the best. Here's kind of the tail end of their conversation.
We are banishers. We end suffering for those who live. We bring closure to those who don't.
A ghost may suffer too. A sin puts a gentler end to it.
But not a safer one. Better to banish and be sure.
Would you banish me? If it came to it?
You'll not escape me so easy. You I would bring back from the dead.
That's not funny.
I'd fill you with fresh essence. I'd give you so much essence you'd return bloated with life.
Steal essence from the living to feed my ghost. You wouldn't.
So that tells us that yes, there is a way to bring back a ghost. You need to feed the ghost essence from the living, which means killing the person, which is the main reason you'd be wanting to blame people throughout this game. Oh, don't feel too bad though. Some of those people in this game deserve to be blamed. Red does end up having a short nightmare during his sleep. We catch a brief glimpse of the ghost of the nightmare haunting this place. She's as creepy as you'd imagine. Also, Antea is missing, which is awesome, so we gotta head to the church and find Antea. I love the shot that we get when we leave the schoolhouse. The full moon above the church, just the ghostly fog around it. It really sets the mood. Sorry, I stated church before. It's a meeting house. And when you get close enough to the meeting house, you can hear Antea singing. This is such a creepy song, but it's so good because she's telling Red to run. And I kind of wonder if maybe Red would say something if you turned him around and started going the other way, or if this game isn't one of those that allows for that kind of manipulation of dialogue. We see Antea sitting by the podium, and her eyes are clouded over, which has me thinking she's blind, which would be fitting for the song that she was singing. And then we meet the nightmare as well as our first boss fight. She does have 3 phases, but you only need to get through 1. One of the main things to look out for is when she splits into several different versions of herself. There's only one actual nightmare that you'll want to hit in order to lower the health bar. So while you can still hit and destroy the other clones, there's really no point in it because it doesn't do anything with the health bar. When the first health bar is depleted, you can banish her through a prompt. And while she begins the next phase, you can't do anything. It'll enter a cutscene. And this is what's really annoying about this part. When the cutscene happens, there is a prompt to skip the scene at the very bottom. But people in this moment think the battle's still going on, so they're going to hold that button without reading that it's to skip the cutscene. It looks like it's a quick time event, basically. So a lot of people probably hold the right button, whatever button it is, to skip, and then miss this cutscene altogether, which makes them have to go back, redo the boss fight in order to watch it. This is a very crucial cutscene to watch, too, so you don't want to miss it. It gives away how Antea becomes a ghost in the first place. Speaking of Antea, I don't really understand why she has kind of that cloudy look in her eyes, like she's blind, because she seems to know exactly where we are and is paying attention to what's happening. So I don't know if she's technically blind or it's just a discoloration. Now, I wouldn't understand why it's a discoloration, though, if she wasn't blind in the first place. Plus, we don't even know why she's blind at this point, if that is the case. But here's the full cutscene for you to watch.
Where's Antea? If you laid a finger on her...
You what? Come to her aid? There is no aid. There is only... retribution.
Give him back.
How touching. You come to claim your man. You think you love him. You do not. There, in the dark of your marrow, there is no love. Only betrayal. I offer you a trade. He stays and you leave with your life.
I'll bargain with no ghost.
You have a brain, yet you think with your idiot heart. You're weak. Will you come to her aid now, when all is lost? If you do, I'll be waiting.
And now we know that Antea died the exact same way that Charles apparently did. We have Charles narrating this next moment. And I don't know, from the way it sounds as if Red was drowning. I mean, maybe he was. He did fall into the ocean and it's freezing water. But I guess it's also implying that he was saved because Charles states, out beyond the black veil of death, something heard his cries and reached for him. We see a giant hand. And then he wakes up in a little cave and we meet a witch called Seeker. So we have Banishers, we have Demonologists, and we have witches in this game. Here's a piece of their conversation.
This isn't what I want. Not like this. Not without her.
No one gets what they want. You get what comes. And if you survive, you get changed by it. You've a hole in you. A yawning, grimacing pit in your soul. That's love, that is. The hole won't fill because the love won't die.
God, what have I done?
Here's the thing. Unlike most, you get a second chance. I suggest you seize it.
She is right. He does get a second chance, unlike most people do. He could have drowned in the waters. He could have died just like Antea. I wonder if the both of them had died, if Antea would still be somehow anchored to this world. I mean, her tie is her body. So I assume she would still be a ghost in this world. Maybe if she didn't feed properly, she would be turning into a wanderer. If that's how that happens. Or if she'd just be a ghost with eternal hunger. Once Seeker is gone, we have finished the quest Death to the Dead. And we are now on the ends of the earth. So now it is up to us to explore around the world, gather different materials, check out the writings that are left behind by people, and find our way. Which is where I'm going to cut off this podcast episode. I really love this game so far. I love the premise, what we are going to be up against in the future, which is the nightmare. I'm sure it's going to be a nightmare of a fight, despite the first phase not being too bad, considering we were level 1. A level 1 apprentice. Taking on a nightmare one-on-one. Had a bit of questions about Antea during that scene when she went missing, up to when we saw her and she got killed. I wonder if she went looking for the nightmare just like Charles had. So maybe the nightmare lured her out. But Charles didn't say that the nightmare lured him out. He did it because times were kind of getting tougher every day. And he couldn't wait for us any longer. I like all the characters so far. Well, I can't really say much for the 3 councilmen, since we didn't really form too much of a connection with them. We didn't even really form too much of a connection with Seeker, but she's a cool character. She seems a little standoffish. Apparently she's an apprentice to another witch called Ceridian. So there's 2 witches that we know of, having only met one though. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast for Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. And don't get in too much trouble when you say, "Not now, Mom. Lime gaming."